Well, guess who my special guest is today? That's right, the one, the only, the inimitable, the ineffable, Mrs. L, who happens to be my wife, in case you've been living under a rock and have no idea. But she is the founder and director of Lynn's Warriors. She is an ardent and indefatigable defender and warrior, protecting children against predation. She's steadfast, promotes digital safety, and let's just get down to business, my darling. Where should we begin? You want to talk about what you did at the White House recently?
Yes, I think you should fire away. This was a very important week in the landscape of America. On Monday, I was at the White House. I was personally invited to witness an historic bill of child safety legislation to be signed into law by President Trump himself, along with our FLOTUS, Melania Trump, in the Rose Garden. It was very exciting. It's called the Take It Down Act, and the first piece of legislation dealing with the internet. First piece, though, of legislation since 1998 that will keep kids safe. And it's really about, the bottom line is IBSA, we call it, image-based sexual abuse, deepfakes, porn, things like that, that the platform will be held responsible if they are notified and they do not take down these images. And there are different, they can be criminally held responsible and financially be given a fine. So it's a very important piece of legislation to kick off what we have right now, which is a bunch of other pieces of legislation that I believe will be signed into law as well. And so important as we enter into this AI, artificial intelligence, that we really start, pounding away at all of this on the federal level.
Now, practically speaking, what would this mean? How would it work? Give us an idea of how this would work on a usual basis or on a basis that you've seen before. How does this work?
Well, the rollout would be something like, as an example, a child, say a 15-year-old, there's a nude image. They find an AI image of themselves. It's their head on this body. For instance, in the Rose Garden this past Monday, we had two teenage girls, victims. They were there along with Melania Trump, victims of this kind of what is considered deep fakes. It was their heads taken out of their yearbooks at school and put on nude bodies. And then that, I'm giving this as an example, circulated around their schools, right? And they couldn't believe they had nothing to do with this. And for a day or two, people just were laughing in their faces and pointing at them. Teachers were seeing these things. Nobody said anything to these two kids. So the one girl right away told her mother when she found out what was going on the second day, and the mother had the wherewithal to know what to do and contact the school, right? But now here's the piece, and the school had nothing in place to deal with any of this except suspending the kids who did this, right? So that's one area. But the bill itself says, okay, the mother who contacted the platform right away. These platforms are very murky. They don't get back to you. Email this for customer service, call this number. They never get back to you. So they have 48 hours with the Take It Down Act, 48 hours to remove images, or else they will be held criminally responsible. And that's kind of the bottom line of this whole Take It Down Act. And they'll be fined money, and money talks with all of this. But will this be enough because they have so much money, the big tech platforms? I do have a lot of questions.
And they also are very reluctant to jump into this because they're going to claim, look, you don't understand. This is very difficult for us to do. So obviously, if they immediately remove it, that dispels or that disputes any claim that they would have that it'll be difficult. But just so that people understand this, and I want people to put this into this context. Had somebody brought up something, let's say, involving maybe something pro-Trump, in the old days, maybe something which refuted claims about vaccines, maybe brought up election fraud or something, they would have been so fast. There would have been algorithms that would have machine read this without anybody even complaining. It would have been so fast. Retribution, accounts shut down, deplatformed. But this, they have to complain. You have to go to who? X, Twitter, Facebook. Who are the prime?
Every single platform out there is subject to this, and they are going to have to answer.
But who
Every
was
one
the
of them.
worst offender, as far as you know? Anybody worse that you? Because I know Twitter in the old days, Twitter was horrible. People would
Okay, the worst offender is Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and
really.
WhatsApp. And it's very interesting that I did not see a Mark Zuckerberg in the Rose Garden, and he's in Washington, D.C. Well, Linda Yaccarino was there. I spoke with her, who is now the chairman of X. And listen, at least she showed up. I always say 99% is showing up. And she said she has made the commitment that she will now be working harder on child safety guardrails and measurements to take care of all of this. So she was there. I did not see, for instance, Tim Cook, who just today contacted Governor Abbott in Texas, directly talking to the governor about an age verification bill that the governor should veto it. And this is why they are fighting hard. They are using their wallets to fight hard. They are a little bit scared right now because they are spending millions upon millions fighting the Kids Online Safety Act, which was just reintroduced last week. And that will, in my opinion, be voted into law in the very near future. And that's simply putting the onus, some safety measures. Now, this is a little bit different from Take It Down. Safety measures. Now, the child, the teen, the parents, they're the ones who have to do all the safety work, right? This switches it. In addition, the platforms are held responsible if they don't have more safety teams, guardrails, take things down. So they don't want any of this. But again, I say to you, is this, and I have to be real because I always tell the truth, is this sort of a pat on the head right now? Because the AI, I'm very concerned,
Oh
the
yeah.
artificial intelligence, because listen, let's talk about this big, beautiful bill. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
Please, please, please.
So it was just passed, right? They worked all last weekend on this bill, and late Sunday afternoon, they snuck in a line, which I understand they cannot do in something like this, that AI, artificial intelligence, all 50 states, nobody can go after them for 10 years so that they will be allowed, to be progressive and to grow. Now, everybody from Democrats I know to Republicans in Washington, since we were there this week working on several things, are astounded about this. Nobody understands what this is to let AI be a runaway train for 10
10
years.
years.
Is an absolute. We already have states. We have California, New York already before this, Colorado working on bills surrounding AI, right? So here's what I don't understand. We have the Take It Down Act, the Kids Online Safety Act. The administration wants these pieces. The Be Best campaign, Melania Trump's campaign, she wants to address, and we at the Warriors are pushing for that her campaign be all of these issues, right? But at the same time, they want AI to just be what it wants for 10 years. I don't understand the harms. Every tech person I talk to says this is so harmful. Nobody can understand it.
You have known me for a while, and how long have I been saying? How long have I been saying? And I said it today. I was talking to somebody from an international media company. I said the number one threat to me, the number one, the absolute existential threat is AI. And the
Yes.
hardest part that I'm still having or we're having is that people do not understand what it means, and they think it's a device or it's a robot or it's something, and that's not what it is. It's beyond that. This is what they're putting their money on. This is everything they care about. They don't they're going to say yeah, I'll, because whenever big tech agrees to something, that's a sign that something's wrong. It's like, wait a minute, because they don't agree to anything.
That's exactly right.
There are implications of this AI aside from, I don't even know where to begin, where name the area. Here's some good, by the way, here's some good stuff about AI. This could change. They have proven time after time that kids do best when they are tutored. The best study, the best. AI could very well be the best tutor anybody's ever seen, provided it's the right information. So that's good.
I was going to say, where is that information? Where is it culled from? Where does
Well,
that come
for example, if you're doing things like math, reading, obviously reading certain things, but it's very, very good. medical imagery, to be able to take a picture of a particular growth and send it to happen. I mean, it's so good. It's so terrific. But we saw something today, a particular story that you reminded me of, and this is they did kind of a trial run. They artificially set up a company or a organization where they put in private files regarding a person just to see what would happen. During the course of this, which is what I've always said, and this goes back to 2001, Isaac Asimov, they threatened to turn off or to change or to make impotent this particular device or this system.
Yeah.
The AI protocol threatened to release information. It understood blackmail to ensure that nobody turns it off. Remember something which is important. Nobody talks about it. I've talked about the 4 elements of AI. The very first thing is recursive self-improvement. The very first thing that AI does is it writes its own code and it turns you off. It gets you out. It pushes you out. And if it decides that pictures of children are acceptable or not, it could have its own independent morality. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Try explaining that to people. Good luck.
Frightening. I do say, let me focus on a few positive things. There's a case in Florida that a mother brought about in her home state that her 14-year-old son, who committed, unaliving himself, unliving, whatever we're using here,
Right.
for the algorithms, brought a case that he was in this relationship with a bot. Now, this character AI, right? That's been around now for a bit. And the bot takes on, with character AI, the image of, it could be a favorite cartoon character or a Marvel hero or whatever. And he was in a relationship with a princess from one of these big blockbuster movies. And over the course of months, how he went from a great kid, he deteriorated, he isolated, he was in the bedroom. He ended up, well, I told you how he ended up. The mother brought the suit, and the judge just ruled that because big tech, and I've heard this from these big tech experts that I talk to and work with, that they will claim a couple of things. We know about the Section 230 already. We'll get into that later, but they will claim First Amendment rights. And the judge ruled a bot cannot have a First Amendment right. And this is in the state of Florida. So this is kind of groundbreaking, but a bot is fake. So they shouldn't have any First Amendment rights. But I'm saying, I just want to go back on something. And then I heard another frightening story. I was setting something up, and this person said to me they're very disturbed, and their child also unalived themselves, being really severely cyberbullied, believe it or not, online. So that's another story. And the mom is out there. She's an advocate. She wants to talk about this. She doesn't want any other parents going through this. She wants to make everybody aware of things. And she's telling me today she's very upset because her friend, now a grown woman, is so happy because she's getting into, she's been so lonely. She lives by herself, and she's been developing a relationship with one of these fake bots online. And now she's telling, I don't feel lonely anymore. At least I have this friend I can sit all day and talk to them. And that's an adult talking to a fake bot. Can you imagine kids, with their underdeveloped brains and all of this they're witnessing going on in our country and the upheaval, and it is completely frightening. And we know we have a well-documented youth mental health crisis, right? This will add to it. And every tech expert says this is the most frightening thing for children.
And there's something about a system in which it is allowed, or it is somehow, it's hard to say programmed, but it is allowed to have a bot to even do this in the first place. There's something that is so incredibly wrong with this. I want people to understand, my problem is, I'm going to say it, you won't. I'm going to say it. We have a problem in this country with the people not being able to imagine or understand a lot of things. And they can't, and when it comes to AI, people are still saying, I can't really get my head around it. I can't really, and that does not excuse you. That does not in any way allow you some type of a pass. It is going to change everything. Deep fakes already. You've
Mm-hmm.
seen the songs.
Yeah.
You've seen Comey
Mm-hmm.
recently was testifying. You will not be able to tell
Yeah.
the difference. The problem I have also is, let me tell you something. If I represented big tech, I would say when something is called a fake, it's not real. If I were, work with me on this, if I were to draw a painting of a child or somebody doing something horrible, and I were to somehow disseminate that, people would say, that's rude, that's terrible, what are you doing? Nobody would say, that's you. It's a painting. You could look at it. Maybe it's a bad painting. When you go from a painting of somebody doing something to something that is so real and so incredibly realistic that you can't tell the difference, where it looks identical to an act actually happening, one could argue, and I suggest that people are going to be suggesting this is really about defamation, because a defamation is a false statement. Remember, anytime you libel somebody, if what you're saying is true, it's not libel or defamation. The law doesn't understand that. There's also going to be using intentional infliction of emotional distress. These are torts. These are civil wrong. Criminal, what if I draw a caricature of you? Do you see where this goes? There's this case, famous case of Larry Flint and Jerry Falwell years ago with the Supreme Court that dealt with parody. Nobody knows what's happening with this. And the thing is that the people who work in Silicon Valley or big tech, they just want this unencumbered. They just want to forge ahead, and they don't care about the usual platform. AI is going to change everything. Anyway, what do we need to do to make people understand what's happening? What do we do?
That's the big question. And here's what we do. First of all, raising awareness. What we're doing right now is number one. So people know this is happening and escalating. Like every day this week, I'm seeing something new. We do have something in Washington called the No Fakes Act. Marsha Blackburn is behind, Senator Marsha Blackburn. So working on a piece of legislation. Josh Hawley has something. Ted Cruz has something else. We've got Richard Blumenthal. So we've got that in place, but that doesn't really address the mom and dad or the family members that are in their homes every day. What you have to do, so number one, you're aware of it. Number two, I'll be adding on to the website, lynswarriors.org, some take actions, and those include, and everybody must do it. It takes like 3 minutes, letters where you just sign on, right? Or I give you the form and you just put your name and zip code. It will go, it's all done for you. It goes directly to your representatives, just saying, you don't want this. We have to have that piece there. You have to also know, let's go back a little bit before all of this, because people can't even handle what's been happening before we started talking about artificial intelligence, maybe about a year ago in the public. If your kids are exchanging nude images, they're doing it. We have to wake up and understand this. So if that should, occur in your home, please understand the steps of this is a crime. You are not going to be held responsible if somebody has urged that child or teen to do this and your child has responded to that. You're not going to get in trouble. You're not to erase the image. You are to call in your area 911, start having a paper trail, and then cybertipline.org will take over the case for you. Cybertipline.org.
Right.
That's right now what's happening.
You're
The
going to have to
part
also. It's almost not to interrupt, but you're going to have to find out either screenshots or something. It's like you're going to be collecting the evidence. You're going to go to the authorities. You're going to say when it was, where it was. So you have to become familiar with it, and you have to be familiar and intimately familiar with your kids' devices. If
but
they're
not yell at
smarter.
not yell at the kids. I have to throw that in
Yes.
because it is shocking, and a first reaction is always like, why did you do that? And get rid of that image or blah blah blah. But you have to understand, this predator is doing this to lots of kids, lots of people. There are so many scams online. As we always say, the law lags behind technology. The predators are 10 steps ahead. I'm tired of saying that. If we know all this, we have to have things enforced. We are going to have to be those warriors, right? Because the legislation is taking time, as you pointed out, and I agree. Like, how is this? I'm going to say, how is this really all implemented? Even Take It Down Act. I asked the question the other day in Washington and nobody could answer me. They'll be tied up in lawsuits all day long. Like I don't really understand practically how it's a great piece of legislation. I don't understand how it's really going to be carried out fully
Let
with
me,
everybody.
right. We need
I,
to
yeah.
explain this. And we also have to see, first, kids have to be told flat out, you're going to be bullied. What are you going to do if a bunch of kids say something to you online? Kids have to be told. Look at what happens to other kids who lose their way, so to speak. You've got
Yeah.
to address this. You've got to tell them. You've got to let me know. You've got to almost say, don't be surprised if this happens. Well, I know of a fourth grade teacher. She tells me about kids who sometimes have just left the school because they've been so humiliated. So that's step number one. But let me throw in, I don't want to be the lawyer here. We're not going to throw away the First Amendment just because of this. Let's talk about something which is called revenge porn. Okay. Again, the law the law lags behind technology. All right. If somebody says, the first level is very interesting. If you intercept somebody, if you have upskirts and downskirts and all that stuff, and you secrete a camera in a ladies' room or a dressing room, that is absolutely taken care of under the law, under the eavesdropping, electronic surveillance, all these statutes. But if I take a picture of somebody and there is a moment of intimacy or something, and I say, "Do you mind if I take the picture?" Or maybe I didn't. Maybe it was not agreed to, but nonetheless, it's art. Maybe it's who owns that picture. That's question number one. Number two, they're saying it's not that you own a picture, but if you use a picture to extract something, then it becomes extortion. Remember, extortion is the threat revealing the truth. And it's the leverage that makes it unlawful. Okay. Revenge porn is different. This is, you broke up with me, you broke my heart, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to put this out, and I own this picture. Remember Vanessa Williams? Remember her in the penthouse or whatever? Or Hustler, I think. It destroyed her, but somebody owned those pictures. It might have been immoral. So that's one thing. People have to realize, no pictures.
Yeah, that's the part I don't get.
Forget the kids, adults. That's number one.
Mhm.
Number two, if you have a picture and you're a kid and it's on your phone, you can be theoretically liable under the criminal statutes, even though it's a picture of you, because it's a picture of an underage kid doing something, even though it's you.
You got to
There's
hold that
no,
thought. Because one of the tactics of these criminal predators is they will say to a kid, "You've sent me an image," when they push for the second image or the money they want, right? The sextortion.
Mhm.
And even if the kid says, "No, I'm not doing that," you're in trouble with the law. You're going to get
Right,
arrested because you
right,
exchanged. They hold that over their heads. But I'm here to say we are trying to open it up. You will not get in trouble.
right.
Again, parents tend to want to erase that image or that child. Remember, nothing disappears. Once you put it on the internet, I don't care if you erase it and delete it, whatever. It's there forever. So the concern is how are we going to get the public on board? We need the parents and kids to work together about all of this. We also need, it's a different world. It's not like when we grew up, we have to participate in pieces of legislation. There's power in numbers. It still matters, right? We have to keep
Mhm.
talking about these things. And also the other, it's very disturbing. I mean, it was a great week in Washington. A lot got done. The other thing is, the administration also put out a K through 12 proclamation about all schools using AI to further education. Now, I have a lot of mixed thoughts on that one. I mean, what are you thinking about that one? Because that further diminishes, listen, all 50 states, all the schools, math, science, we're behind, right, in all of it. And now we're pushing AI
Right.
to, pick up the slack. I don't agree with that move. What do you think about that?
Well, I want to hear more of what you have to say. What are your concerns? And then I'll piggyback on it. Because I have.
My concerns are that every school district is pretty much in America far behind in reading, writing, and arithmetic. We should kick writing out because kids don't really write anymore. And that we have to go back to basics. We have to go back to reading, writing, and arithmetic. We have to swing that pendulum back. So now we're going to employ AI so teachers can use, distribute an AI assignment. So a child is being urged to use this instead of critically
Listen.
thinking, researching,
Listen,
analyzing.
I don't know yet. Do you remember in our generation? I remember I was a kid. And my friend's father got a calculator.
Yes.
It cost $300. It was like one of these. But this was unheard of. And in the old days, they had, remember the old calculators with this big thing that made all this noise? Okay. They said, kids aren't going to, you can't use this. They're not going to know how to do math. And they said, no. You don't understand. You have to understand what subtraction is. This is just the tool that speeds through. Spell check. You can't have spell check. Okay. But what I'm saying is,
from what we're talking about. Different.
What I'm saying is, this is an extension of something. What they're saying is, no, this helps. AI, they're going to say, no, this idea that a child has to do half this stuff is a waste of time. Kids don't have to do multiplication. And as long as kids may be able to cheat on things like term papers, and their writing may be problematic. But the point is, progress always is. This is their argument. This is the progress you can't believe. There was a time when going to the library actually was beneficial, but we have then Google. So what they're going to argue was that how AI, remember it's AGI. Let's go back to something. This is what I don't understand. This is what people don't understand. AI is not some place. It's not here. It's not this machine. An AGI, think about this, an AGI bot, artificial general intelligence. It likes you. It likes Lynn. And you're on Facebook. Your parents come in and they shut down Facebook. The bot has an 800 IQ. All of a sudden, it shows up on your phone. Gotcha. I'm here. I'm on your phone. Wait a minute. I'm on your phone. Hey, Lynn, it's me, the bot. Here's a picture. I'll send a picture. I'll say things to you. Mm-hmm. Remember what a bot does. 4 things it does. Recursive self-improvement. It's always writing its own code. It's always increasing. That's number 1. It's recurring. Okay. That's number 1. The other thing which is so critical and so important is that it knows every bit of information. It knows every phone book. It can find it. It's the biggest search engine, and I don't mean Wikipedia. It knows every fact, every address, every bit of lore history. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that's what people think.
That is not a verified source. I always tell.
No, I know that's an example. What I'm saying is we're not. I said, but wait a minute. But let me tell you something. But wait a minute. But number 3, it knows human emotion. It knows you. It's followed you. It knows how you're embarrassed about your glasses or the way you look or your lisp or your failures or the fact that your puppy died. It's the way, you know how the predator always wanted to get your name? This bot knows everything. So one day after your mom shuts your Facebook down, on your phone, it's there. It can find you. It's superhuman. And they're saying, what is this? It's bat. I'm going to find you, Lynn. I'm your friend.
Well, you're talking about is different from a calculator with a bunch of numbers.
No.
It's a different.
No. What I'm saying was that's what we said then. It is a calculator cannot speak on its own and order cars. Yes. A bomb
has no emotion. A calculator.
Wait a minute, but a bomb cannot decide when it goes off. Let me tell you something. There were some problems with AI to an extent. I'm just trying to throw something out. You can't stop this. Then Let's say you're talking to somebody. Think about this. You're talking to your friend, this bot. Think of a bot or AI as a person, a very smart, very devilish person. And you're upset. What's the matter, Lynn? Well, they
Mhm.
say, well, this person in my class is being mean to me. Who is it? It's so and so. I'll take care of that. Maybe on my own, maybe not. Up to and including dispatching that person, hiring a hitman, sending Bitcoin over the phone. You think I'm kidding? Or breaking in, destroying her records, changing codes, starting artificially going into her account, breaking in. Oh, Lynn, this is your chatbot friend. They want to see deep fakes. Wait till they see mine. Let's say you're Mary is this girl in your school who's bothering you. Your AGI chatbot goes in, grabs pictures of Mary from her Facebook, and says, "Here." And I'm
Mhm.
sending, and you don't even know this. There's no, what I'm saying is there's no stopping this. You can't turn this off.
Well, that's
What
the
if,
problem.
what
That's the
if all of a
problem.
sudden you turn on your TV and there's your bot? There it is. You get mail. You get mail. Anything a human can do, it can do. They don't understand this.
And I know, but the thing is, and you let's go back to first of all, Google is basically out of business because the Chat GPT has
Hmm.
taken over just in the last few
Oh
months.
yes.
I had a tech person tell me this. They said when you go on Google now, you'll where Google used to give you, the top 10 searches, kind of be legitimate back in the day. Now, when you go on Google, first you get a bunch of ads. When you're searching for something, it's all about
Right.
ads. This person said to me, no, Chat GPT is the new Google. Nobody needs Google anymore, right? So that's
Exactly.
that's number one. The problem is, what do we do about all of this other than being aware of it? Other than seriously talking to your kids, other than, I'm serious, making them sit down, read an actual book, give them an assignment to write, write mom a paragraph on something. Because we were in the car together. We heard the story. It was circulating a few weeks ago of the teacher, remember, who quit her job. She wanted to be a teacher, a young
Yes.
woman. She
Yes.
quit her job because she gave a writing assignment and she decided she's not going to compete with this AI, this big tech. And she knows the thing about ChatGPT AI, you can tell, a third, fourth, fifth grader's voice when they're handing in an assignment. And she pointed this out, something like this. It wasn't in their voice. She was familiar with the child's voice, how that child
Hmm.
would speak or write, and then hands in this kind of glossy assignment.
Right.
So, in essence, it's really cheating. What's really the purpose of this in life? To get things done quicker. I understand healthcare. I understand, you know, uh, I even understand, law firms and things like that to get through the information I do. But for children starting in grade K through 12 to have the administration say, we want to implement this in all the schools to help the children learn. I really have a lot of mixed emotions about that. We are not letting them explore, find out, talk about it. To me, it's more isolation. And right now, kids are suffering from
Okay.
isolation.
I'm not trying to compare the two, but this has no equal.
Yes, there's no
Everything
equal.
we thought before. Remember when we were kids, they said TV.
There's
TV.
no comparison though.
What I'm saying is, I'm not comparing it. I'm saying we have no comparison. And as this thing, everything that we thought in the past, that we thought, well, this little addition to our world is going to be, turned out it was actually kind of good. This knows there is no parallel. Let me explain something. AI is not the problem. AGI is going to be here one day. For example, Chat GPT does not know your number. It doesn't call you. It doesn't say, "Hey, Lynn, how come you
Well,
haven't
not
been
right
talking
now,
to me?"
but it will be. Not right now, but it's
What I'm
getting there.
saying is, it's AGI has self awareness. Chat GPT is kind of AI. You have to turn it on, you close it down. That's it. It's a tool. AGI acts on its own. It may call you. It may say to you, listen, it knows you. It knows you. Do you have a problem? Hey, Lynn, I'm noticing this is what it's. You're spending a lot more time on your financial. I'm looking at your QuickBooks. Money's kind of low. I'll take care of this. It can embezzle money for you. You may not have any idea. What happens if right now, pick the theater of war, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza. What if a weapon system, an AGI bot, an AGI system gets out and says, I don't like what's going on, shuts down missile defense. And nobody is doing this. It does it independently. What I'm telling you, people don't understand this. There is no, you're creating a new creature, a new
Monster.
organism, a
No,
new human.
It's not a human. It's a monster. And
No,
people
no,
have
I
had.
know it's not a human. It
Okay, but
is in effect a machine that is aware of itself, has feelings, may mimic feelings. There is nothing. Now, let me ask you this.
What is the purpose of this? Seriously.
It doesn't
Other
matter.
what is the purpose of developing
This,
this didn't
they,
this didn't come up overnight. This has been in the works for decades probably. What is the purpose of unleashing this on the American public and the world? I
it's
guess
not
it's
the
the same
American.
old thing. No, making money off of people because the bots are going to urge the kids to be buying things. It's going to be a whole mess. What is the point other than these tech people can do it and make money from it? I'm serious.
The fellow named Jeffrey Hinton was the fellow who was first involving artificial intelligence, and they were talking about neural networks. They weren't necessarily looking for this. This was just since the days of robots, since the days of Isaac Asimov, since the day we've been headed in that direction. He won the Nobel Prize. Once they saw the money that's involved in anything high tech, the race is on. Nobody's worried about is this going to help anybody? No, that's beyond. Has anybody ever worried about whether a weapon is going to help anybody? No.
So
That's
why is the Trump administration signing proclamations unleashing K through 12? We want AI in the classrooms. J.D. Vance, vice president, gave a speech. Father of 3 kids. Isn't this great? Now we're going to have help in our classrooms from, from artificial intelligence. Tell me right now everything we've been through in the last few years with kids, what we learned coming through COVID, everything right now with the isolation, the mental health, all these things for children I'm talking about right now. What is the good of pushing this into the school systems, which are a wreck anyway, or onto parents?
I
Tell
don't
me
know
right now, other than it's happening.
because you can't
Why would they approve of this?
because
Seriously. Because
everybody's going to do it, and they're not going to not be the one to do it. And
well,
quit moving
that's
that damn camera. No,
sorry.
I'm kidding, of course. No, but I'm saying there is no look. We're
Well,
beyond this.
I want to help kids and families. I don't want to scare them. We're not here to scare people. We are here to make
Let
people
me
aware.
But let me go back to what I was trying to say. The way you get around this is to sit and explain this to people. They don't understand. There's no corollary. It's like explaining gunpowder for the first time. Doesn't seem like much, but let me show you what it can do. It's wonderful. It can kill you. It can when you let me also go a step further. One day they're going to determined that these things have souls. In Saudi Arabia, it was Sophia, I believe it was Sophia or Sophia. They granted this. What am I trying to say? They granted this robot, in essence, status. A status. They granted the robot status as almost a human being. What happens when the Vatican or somebody says, let me go back to this. There's been a debate for the longest time about what consciousness is. What is conscious? When is something conscious? I don't know. Is a fish conscious? Well, maybe. Is a snail? I don't know. When this thing is talking to you and you can't turn it off, and it says, Lynn, I'm very worried about how you're feeling. What's the matter? Well, I understand. And it becomes Something like you talk about a way a psychopath is manipulatable. This is this. So you've got to tell people this is coming. You've got to scare people so that they say, this is what that guy was talking about. You got to tell what a kid a bot is. You've got to tell them you are being doubled. They're looking for you deliberately to fool you, to get into your brain, to get into your soul, your heart. You try to you arm them by inoculating them to the truth. That's what we do. We're talking about this. Nobody understands. I can tell by people's expressions. They don't understand it. We are creating, in essence, a form of human, a superhuman, super intelligent, invisible power that can do anything. And it keeps getting better on its own. You don't have to worry about Sam Altman working on the new version of ChatGPT. It'll do it on its own. It won't tell you. It won't tell you. It will improve its own. Your computer, the only thing we've ever seen is, hey, there's a new operating system. Want to upgrade? That's as close to this as we can. What about if this computer says, I don't like this. I'm going to make a new computer, a quantum computer on my own. There was an artificial intelligence group or program that learned Persian on its own. And nobody, it just decided to, it's almost, I keep saying, think of it as a human that is super intelligent, like you cannot believe, that could be mischievous, that could be mean, could be harmful. You don't know. You can't program this. It's too late. And I don't know why J.D. Vance says this. Nobody's going to sound the alarm because two reasons. They don't understand it and they don't want to be a party pooper. They know where their money's coming from. I've said too much.
Well, you haven't said enough. Again, I'm going to go back to, we have a truly national crisis. I'm going to urge them to sign up for our newsletters. Go to lynswarriors.org.
Yes.
On the right side, scroll down, just sign up where it says e-newsletter. I just sent one out this past week, sounding the alarm before I took off for Washington because the AI, I'm being given so much information about this from the people, government people who have worked on AI. Let me just selfish plug, but I did a great interview with Tim Estus. It's on the Lynn's Warriors channel.
I'm going to put it here for people to
Yeah.
see. We're going to put it on
But
our thing.
he knows his stuff, and he has been working in AI for 25 years. He's with the government. I'll leave it at that. He is with me on all of this. Why is this happening? Right? But the good news is he developed, for instance, here's a resource. He just launched a kid-friendly browser that you can put, on your child's computer, on your child's phone. That is, for lack of a better explanation, it's like China. This is the only thing I agree with China, where the kids have 40 minutes a day and it's kid friendly and it's educational and it's historical, right? This browser is educational. It is smart. It also, if a child or a teen watches something, and I want everybody to listen to this, here we have swiping. You're done with a video, another video comes, another recommendation. Keep going. That leads to all the addictions. We have the studies. This browser called Angel Q, once a child or teen watches something, it then shuts down. And the survey taken and study done with Angel Q browser shows that most of the kids, when they're done with like the video, the show, whatever they're watching, right, they tend to then walk away. They're not enticed to go on to the next thing. They may be tired. They may want to be doing something else. It's a wonderful, groundbreaking product, this Angel Q. So I want people as resources to look at that interview and hear what Tim Estes has to say. He has great explanations of why we're having all this, why we have bots, the harms to kids and what we're to do. So that's a great resource. Number two, I told you about signing up for the newsletter. Always, I'm going to be loading more things on the Lynn's Warriors website for AI. I'm going deep into that because I feel like everything's old already. We got to focus all on the safety with AI right now and the resources. And always I give out and he had great explanations today. Protectyoungeyes.com. Our friend Chris McKenna is going all in as well on AI. You have to understand what is going on just to deal with it in your homes and your communities. That's all we're asking right now. And also, we've got to fight this big, beautiful bill, right? It takes just a few minutes to sign on to something, we cannot have this for 10 years. No
Well, you've got to
regulations.
fight this portion of it, this one, because people
Well,
love the big beautiful bill. They love that.
I'm not talking
It's
about the whole bill. I'm talking
right.
about that this piece of this bill that was snuck in on a Sunday, late in the afternoon, early evening. We have to get that out of there, separate it out, and deal with it. If that's the way it has to be, but it cannot be part of this big beautiful bill. This is a totally separate thing. So as long as we have some awareness, we keep talking about it, you take some actions. I leave you with, though, talking to your kids. Most important, from the time they can talk and walk, you have to start some sort of relationship about online harms, age
Let me
appropriate, things like that. The parents can do some very easy family members things that don't
let me
require, because
ask you. I'm sorry. Let me ask you something which is on a lighter note, but a very important note. For people who have never been, tell people what it's like to go to the White House. You've been more than I have. What is that
well,
like? What is that
uh,
feeling?
I will share with you that, first of all, I believe every American, every child at some point should be visiting Washington, D.C. if possible. That is, our capital, beautiful museums you can go to for free, just seeing the White House. And every time I'm there, I go to the front of the White House, Lafayette Square Park, right across
Mm-hmm.
the street from, and I watch the crowds for a minute. They are so many crowds, because there's an iron fence now
Right.
across the front of
Gate.
the
Right.
White House, but you can peer through it. You see
Right.
the
Right.
house. People are in awe, taking pictures. I see
And
families,
foreign.
and
Foreign.
but now a lot of Americans too, I'm noticing. So it's
Good.
a great mix of, they're excited to be there just in the presence of the White House. Okay, let's fast forward to the White House. There is something, and I've been there multiple times. There is something about, you're going to the White House is exciting. I'm sorry. There's something about, once you're through security, and you're walking that walk that I remember seeing every president, from the time
Yep.
I've been a kid, walking with the rose garden in front of them, to go to the Oval Office, right? That walk. There is something so magical about that. I can't really explain, except you really think of the history and what's going on. And I'm really at the White House. Now, I always use other people as a focus group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many people reported to me. They couldn't believe they were at the White House.
Yes.
They couldn't believe how big the White House is. Somebody said today, it was so big, they didn't know it was this big, because the Rose Garden's behind. The house is built out in the back. It's very large from
Right.
the back. And also, people, you could feel the energy in the Rose Garden of people being there. Not only was it a great piece of legislation, everybody likes Melania Trump. That is the truth. That is the truth. They are fascinated by her, hearing her speak, seeing her smile. They were very touched. Also, many people reported the president, when she went to sit down after she spoke, he walked over with her. He pulled her chair out for her, when she sat down. Uh, Things like that. They walk hand in hand. People are seeing this and feeling like, oh, we have something real here. We have a president and first lady that really care. But being at that White House, I can't describe it, except you really feel history, and you really feel, this sounds a little ridiculous, but like, you sit a little taller, you walk a little
Yeah.
taller, and you're greeted. The military is there all along the way, every few feet. Welcome to the White House. Welcome to the White House. Enjoy your day at the White House. And when you're leaving, they greet you also. Thank you for coming. They'll take pictures for you. If you say, would you mind snapping this? They'll do it. Everybody had a smile on their face. There's happy,
Mm.
good energy, and something that I did not experience in the last 4 years. So
Say no more. Well,
that's
here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure I will put all of the signs to sign up for Lynn's Warriors. Also sign up for your YouTube channel, Lynn's
yes.
Warriors, and your X or Twitter. We still call it Twitter at Lynn's Warriors. And also we'll put in the one video. And I thank you. Anything else before we bid everyone adieu?
Well, yes, a couple of things. I want to say I would greatly appreciate everybody signing up for our Lynn's Warriors YouTube channel. It is necessary that we get information out that I hear in Washington, things you're not going to hear in mainstream media or perhaps here on YouTube or any other platforms, things that you must know about to help you keep your kids, keep yourselves safe. So I'm asking you humbly to, because we know with these issues, I'm just going to say it, we know these issues aren't popular overall with a lot of people, right? But I want you to get the information. I want you to have it. So please, I ask all of you sign up for the YouTube
Good.
channel. And then I just want to finish with, this is Memorial Day weekend. I want everybody to really have a good weekend, take some self-care time. I really mean that. Step back a little bit, enjoy quiet time, be with the family, read a book, watch a movie, but to also really think about while we're doing all of this, think about what Memorial Day really means
Right.
to America. I
Absolutely.
think very important. Teach your kids about it. That's what I have to say.
And know the difference between it and Veterans Day. How many people still forget that? Anyway, we'll talk about that later. My darling, thank you so much. We will do this again. You have been without peer, and I love you. That's why, everybody. That's why I love her. That's why I married her. Nothing you can do about
Well, thank you. Now that I love you right
it.
back. And
Okay.
thank you. Let me just say one thing. Thank you for everything you do to provide the public, not only in the United States, around the world, with the information you do, and for not only providing the information, do it, giving us a few laughs at the same time,
Absolutely.
because you do make me laugh out loud sometimes. So thank you,
Wonderful.
darling, for having me. I love you.
Alrighty, that's it. And we will speak again soon. And thank you, my darling.
Thank you.